Hi guys, it's Chase here with Star Tutors, and we hope you guys had a great summer. We're ready to get back into the school year. For those that are watching this when it's not school time or it wasn't just summer, obviously we hope that you're having a great school year to this point. One of the things that we want to talk about as the ACT test starts to come up and you're starting your junior year, really starting to think about these and how they apply to college, we really want to talk to you guys about the science section of the ACT. It's almost without a doubt the section that we get the most questions about, whether that be from the ACT or the SAT, from any of our programs. So it's really important that we really break down some of the things that you guys have already seen in our other ACT science videos. We've taken these full-length practice tests. You guys have seen me take these tests, hopefully in real time. But I really want to try to break down the strategy that I'm using because it's oftentimes difficult to see when you're moving that quickly. So with the ACT science section, it's really, really important to remember that this is a data consumption test. And what I mean by that is you've just gotten out of a 2.5-hour test, right? It's taking you 2.5 hours to get through this thing to get to the science test. That is a long time to just sit there and think. You're going to be mentally drained. There's nothing that I can help you with that, right? It's going to be tiring when you get to the science section. So the key is you don't want to get to a point where you just give up. And it's really easy to do that. I'm sure some of you guys are watching and be like, yeah, I do that all the time. Right? That's exactly what we want to try to avoid. So rather than giving up, let's say because the science test is not in order of difficulty, question number 2 could be the single hardest question on the entire test. When you see question number 2 after doing 2.5 hours of other ACT work, and you look at question number 2 and it's super hard, it's very easy to be like, I'm done. No chance I'm finishing this. Just like, let's start circling answers. We don't want to have that happen. That's like the worst thing that can happen. So because the test is not in order of difficulty, we've developed this method called the 3-pass method, okay? So with the 3-pass method, the idea is that you're gonna see the 25 to 30 science questions that you absolutely know how to do. Amazingly on the science test, there are 25 to 30 questions that are very easy. And I'm gonna show you what those look like here in a second. But there are 25 to 30 questions that are very easy. We want you guys to see those questions before ever coming across a difficult question. For those that have watched the BO4 science video, and if you haven't, it's going to be in the description, so you guys can definitely watch it. It'll be at the end of this video as well. If you watched me take the BO4 science test from April of 2019, one of the things you guys noticed was I came all the way back to questions that I had skipped initially. That's part of the 3-pass method. I came all the way back to those questions at the end, and I was wildly confident with timing because I had done all the easiest questions. I knew where I was in the test, and I knew that I had about 10 questions left, and I had 15 minutes remaining. And that's what you guys can do too if you never get overwhelmed with any single question. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys the 3-pass method by timing myself on a specific type of passage. In this case, it'll be for those that have the BO2 test form. BO2 is from June 2019, so it was administered for the June test. This is passage number 5 on the BO2 test form. And when you guys take a look at this, when you're going through this BO2 test, one of the things that I want you to be thinking about is how can I maximize the number of questions that I get right? Okay, and that's our goal. So on the first pass, okay, and again, hopefully Owen has some cool graphics coming up behind me. So on the first pass, we're gonna have you guys answer only the questions that you 100% know how to do. Okay, so again, 100%, you read through the question, you're like, yeah, I definitely know how to do that one. That's so easy, and I'm gonna show you what those look like here in a second. I definitely know how to do that one. I'm definitely going to do that right now because that doesn't give me any type of brain freeze, right? It doesn't give me that sense of like, oh, I just wanna get out of here. This is like, yeah, I got that one right. That feels great. I'm moving on, right? Those are the types of questions we do on the first pass. Okay, so I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna set my timer here. I have my timer. I'm going to set my timer. This passage number 5, this is passage number 5 on the BO2 test form from June. Passage number 5 happens to have, let's see here, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. So there's 7 questions. If you take a 7-question passage anytime on the ACT, 7-question passages, you get about 6.5 minutes. Let's say 6 minutes, just to be safe. We'll say 6 minutes to complete that. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer here for 6 minutes. Okay, and I'm just gonna go through the first pass, and again, this is only on one passage, but when you get really fluid at it, right, like you see in the BO4 science test video of me taking the test, you guys can implement this. This is very broken down, but you can do this throughout the entire test. Okay, so I'm gonna set my timer for 6 minutes. This is a 7-question passage, and then as soon as I'm done with the easiest questions, I'm gonna stop my timer, and this is how I'd like you guys to practice. I'm gonna stop my timer as soon as I'm done with the easiest questions on passage number 5 of the BO2 test. Okay, I'm gonna start my timer now. Now, okay, so 6 minutes. So guys, as soon as you look at this test, if you scroll, if you look at your example, and hopefully you guys have this printed out. If you don't, just follow along. You guys will see a couple very, very interesting things here, okay? So first and foremost, the easiest questions on the ACT almost always begin with this word according to, these words according to, or based on. So right away, I know that 27, look how little writing there is there. And you guys know that my timer's running just like it did on the real-time test. According to the results of experiment 1, as theta increased, right, this is the theta, you guys have seen that in math, the tension in cable 2, I'm gonna underline important parts of the question. That's really easy. I know I'm going back up to experiment 1, okay, as theta increased, the tension in cable 2 did what? So theta goes up here, right, in experiment 1, and then we're looking for what, cable 2, so we have to find what cable 2 is equal to. Let's see if we can find that. Cable 2 is represented by T2, guys, right here. So cable 2 is T2, so that is right here. So as this one went up, this one decreased only. Okay, so right away, I'm looking down at my sheet, and I'm gonna say decreased only, B. Okay, I'm done, right? That's an easy question. Now at 28, based on the results of experiment 1 and 2, do you see how 28 is based on, right? According to and based on, look out for those words. These are very small data consumption questions, and we'll talk about 29 or 32. Those are hard questions. Based on the results of experiment 1 and 2, which of the following expressions was always equal to 0? Well, if we look at 1 and 2, and we know that we're just looking at these, right? T1, so the first one was T1y plus T3. So T1y plus T3, that looks like it's consistent all the way down. T1y plus, guys, right away, I just lucked out. I was gonna eliminate that answer, but I'm 99% sure that this is F, because as you guys look at this, T1y is here, and I'm gonna mark up my page as much as possible. T1y is there, and then T1y is here and here. All of these are versed, 9.8, negative 9.8, right? 19.6, negative 19.6, and really quickly we can identify that answer choice F has to be right. That one we got lucky. That could have been a little bit more time consuming, but that one we got lucky on. Okay, look, 29, guys, not gonna do that one. If you see the word suppose and consider, they're not always difficult, but a lot of times they are, because inherently, suppose something happens, that's hypothetical. We don't know what's happening, like based on this or according to this. That's very, very factual. Okay, look at, based on results of experiment 1, this is number 30, now I'm skipping 29. In order for the absolute value of T1x to be equal to T1y, what angle should cable 1 make with the top of the support? Okay, so T1x in experiment 1, right? Experiment 1, T1x is equal to T1y as long as the cable makes a negative 5.6. 9.8. Guys, this one's actually harder than I thought it was, and because we don't have time for that, we just want to move on. So I'm skipping 30, even though I thought it was going to be easy. I still cut my losses there, right? I didn't go through it trying to figure it all out. I'm going to move on. Suppose that experiment 2, suppose are often hard, but this one doesn't look like it's very data consuming. So a trial had been performed in which T1y was 68.6 newtons. The mass of the cylinder would most likely be. So T1y in experiment 2, T1y at 68.6. So it looks like we're going down here, and 68.6. This is going up by about 10, right? 49 to 50, 39, 49, 50. So I'd expect this to go up on the same way. So that's an easy question. Coincidentally, that one's got to be at 7, so it's got to be between 6 and 8. Okay, so that's got to be answer choice B for number 31. Which of the following statements about theta or m somewhere? Okay, I don't like that one. I don't like the remaining. So guys, now I'm gonna stop my timer. Let me make sure that I can do that. I'm gonna stop it, come on, save time. Okay, so right now guys, I'm about the 2-minute mark, okay? I know that I've only answered 3 questions right to this point, and again, it's a little bit harder as I go through this, but hopefully this is making sense. I know that I've only answered 2 questions right to this, or sorry, 3 questions right, but I'm 100% sure. Okay, well, let's just confirm that. But I'm 100% sure that I got those questions right. I feel really, really good about those questions. So let's just confirm that again. We're looking at questions 27, 28, and 31. But again, the reason that we want to do that, I had 2 minutes remaining. So basically, what we're turning this into, and we're like 27, let's see, 27 was B, 28 was F, great, and 31 was B. Okay, so I was really confident that those were right. Now, did I use a lot of my time? Yeah, I used about 4 minutes for those 3 questions. It's hard to scroll back and forth, but the thing is I cut my losses. So now I'm gonna complete, we had 3 questions left here. right? 4 questions left. That's a hard passage. And the reason why I wanted to show you guys a hard passage where there were 4 relatively difficult questions, and I'm sure that some of you guys can answer these questions, right? It doesn't have to be 3. And maybe if I was more head down like I was on those BO4 tests, I could do more questions here. But the key is if you do those 3 questions and then you move on to the next passage, right? All of a sudden, this passage might be wildly easier, or better yet, and this happened on the BO4 test. Look what happens if we go up to passage number, I don't know, let's see. There's got to be one easy one here, right? Passage number 1 is looks relatively straightforward, right? Based on the point is that you're answering the easiest questions first before you move on to pass number 2. We still had 2 minutes banked before, right? So we're moving on to pass number 2, knowing that we have some time left, but we're answering every question that we know how to answer. Now, if you get really good at this and you can stay focused, this becomes a very, very important strategy to implement in your test. If you guys watch the BO4 video, you can see that I don't answer every question as I come to it. I'm like, oh man, that one looks a little bit over, that's too much. So I'm moving on from that question. I tried to accomplish the same thing here on the BO2 test video with passage number 5 to show you guys that you don't need to answer every question. If you sit there and question number 2 is a question that makes you want to give up, immediately skip it and come back to it at the very end. Find the 25 to 30 questions that are really easy that you know how to do. And again, if you watch the BO4 video, you'll see me do this in real time, very fluid, and that's how you guys can get too, because the questions on the science section, 30 or 25 to 30 of the questions on the science section are very straightforward. And if you answer those, let's even take it as the worst case scenario. If you answer 25 questions right, you're already sitting at a 23. Now, a 23 is probably not the score that most of you guys want to get to. And if it is, that's even better, right? Then you're already there by only answering the easiest questions. But if you're at a 23 and you're trying to find out how to get to a 28 or 30, I'm not asking you never to go back to those harder questions. I'm asking you to get the 25 that you absolutely know how to do right. We had 2 minutes left over, and I know that to get to a 28, I have to answer 7 more questions right. So with that extra time, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to take those 2 minutes, and then I'm going to probably get 2 minutes on every one of the passages. There's 6 passages. That gives me 12 minutes left, right? From 25 to 32, that takes me from a 23 to a 28 overall on this science section. Owen will flash the score report up here or what that looks like, the conversion. That 7 more questions right at this point takes me from a 23 to a 28. So if you're looking to improve those 5 points, use this method. Because right now on this test, we're sitting at a 25, effectively a 23. We've got 25 questions right by using the first pass. And now we have 12 minutes left. We banked 2 minutes on that one passage, and that obviously multiplies over 6 passages. So you have 12 minutes left to find those additional questions that you know how to answer. Now, as you get better and better at this always applies. Rather than having 25 questions that you know how to do, you have 30 questions that you know how to do. And 30 questions on this test was a 26. So your starting score is a 26 with 12 minutes left over. And on the second pass through, right, we come all the way back to the beginning and start answering some of the harder ones. All we need to do to get to from a 26, 20, 30 questions, right? All you need to do, if you answer 7 more questions right in the remaining 12 minutes, you have 10 left, and you answer 7 more right, all of a sudden you're at a 34. It gives you 7 questions, right? You're only looking for 7 questions to answer in 12 minutes, and that gives you so much time. Again, for those that have already watched the BO4 test video, I use this exact strategy to get a perfect score on the BO4 science section. And it was just using this because it gives you so much more clarity at the end. Okay, I'm working through this many questions. I'm doing as well as I can. I'm getting every question that I absolutely know how to do right, so I'm maximizing my score. And now with the additional 12 minutes left, I'm looking for 7 to 8 more questions that I can answer. This still works at a 36 level. If you're at a 32 right now, it means that you've already been wildly successful in the science section, and now you're looking for 32 questions, right? You can answer 32 on the first pass, and then you're looking for the remaining 8 questions in order to get a perfect score. So 32 right on the first pass, then you look out on the second pass for those 8 questions, and then on the third pass, if you're running low on time and you still have questions that you haven't gotten to, right? On this last example, I said 25 questions with trying to answer 7 more questions, right? But there's still 15 left, so we're only answering 7. On the third pass, you just guess the same letter down, and that's going to get you some additional points. Okay, so if you guess the same letter down on the third pass, the second pass is where you're trying harder problems, but you have more time to do them. You're less anxious, you're more comfortable on that second pass. On the third pass, if you still have questions that you haven't answered yet, just guess the exact same letter all the way down, and that's bound to get you 2 to 3 more questions right again. This is a very, very easy and efficient way to increase your score very quickly. If you guys can watch the BO4, the 74F video that we'll post in the description, you guys can get a better score almost overnight just by looking at only the easiest questions first, skipping passages. So like on passage number 5 here, I would have gone passage 5 and then immediately moved on to passage 6 once I felt like I'd answered every question that I know how to answer on the test. So again, passage 5 was one example. If you look at the BO4 video, you'll see this in real time as I move through it, only answering the questions that I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed by. Because if you get to the point where you're overwhelmed and you're tired from the rest of the test, you will get into that mindset. For better or for worse, you'll be like, oh man, I just want to get out of here. That's the thing that we can't have happen on science, because there are so many easy questions. Don't let one affect the last 10. That's what the pass method, the 3 pass method, is so effective with. So make sure that you're trying to implement this as you go, because it works at every level. For those that are already testing, if you want to watch the BO4 video, you'll see this work at the very highest level, and you'll just see it here work at where you're trying to improve from a 23 to a 25. Okay, so in this example, it works at every single level. So please try to implement the 3 pass method. And I promise you'll see better results on the science section. It's what we work with with our students in our classes. It's what we teach in our book. It's really important that you guys are moving on from questions that are really hard, because you will be tired and it will be overwhelming. That's just how the science test is. Okay, so that's a lot of me talking. I hope that all makes sense. I'm trying to fill in the gaps here. And again, if you guys watch that BO4 video, you'll see it. I implemented all of this in real time. I hope you guys do watch it. I hope that you guys continue to comment. We've been wildly happy with all of the comments you guys have been giving. We're always happy to answer those comments and answer any questions you guys have about the test. We hope you guys have a great next test, whenever it might be that you take it. For the juniors that are starting their preparation now, please make sure that you guys are trying to watch these videos, because we're trying to give as many free resources as we possibly can. We're trying to give away all of our strategies for free, and we really want you guys to succeed. So please make sure you comment and let us know how else we can help, and we'll do everything that we can to make that happen. So have a great rest of your day. Good luck on your next test, guys. Watch the rest of these videos. The BO4 and the 74F science videos will populate as soon as I'm off the screen. You guys will probably be ready for that. And we hope to see you guys soon. Have a great rest of your day, guys.